Brothers and sisters, misses and misters, fate has shined upon us. This is the Dented Cast. I'm Dobie Maxwell. Max Baumgartner is running the camera. I am at my high school, Mesmer High School in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and what are the chances this lovely young lady here was a teacher of mine way back in the class of 1981. Miss Bonishaw, so great to see you.
Great to see you. You look super.
You look super as well, and it's amazing to me how on the day we're coming back, I was talking to Max. Our show, if you haven't seen it, and I'm sure you haven't, it's about painful memories and how you go back and make them good. Not just childhood memories, family memories, things like that. And you did so many good things. I remember you being positive, uplifting, encouraging, and I don't think you know how much that meant to a Dented Can.
Well, I appreciate hearing that because educators never know how we're doing until many years later when we run into our former students on the streets and see how actually they turned out and how well they're doing in today's society.
I know you had thousands of kids. Were there any memories that at all that stuck that out? I mean, I'm so thrilled that you remember. I knew you when you came down. I know this woman right here. Anything that you remember about me in high school?
Well, I'll tell you, the thing I remember about you is that you were always very shy, very quiet, and you stayed yourself a little bit, but you were always very, very polite. Always polite.
Well, that was the whole idea. My grandparents raised me, and they would have beat me into... No, I'm kidding you. But they raised me to be polite. I really appreciate that. I'm going to tell you a story that you might not even know, and you might not know this. I know Max doesn't know this. I only skipped school one time in my high school years. And it was one day. Remember when Hank Aaron came here?
Yes, I do.
Hank Aaron, the baseball star, came to Mesmer High School, and I don't remember what he was here for, to be honest with you.
I think somebody knew him and just asked him to stop by, but I don't know for sure.
Well, he made a speech here, and there was Jeffrey Phelps, who was another student in my class of 1981, went on to become a photographer for the local paper, the Milwaukee Journal. Jeffrey and I were friends, and we said, we can't let Hank Aaron not come to our school without taking an autographed baseball. So there was a sporting goods store called Burghart's right up Capitol Drive.
64th and Capitol.
64th and Capitol. I think they moved now.
They're out on, actually they were further out on Capitol, and I think they opened up a new one out in New Berlin maybe.
So we went there in my rattle-trap car on lunch hour. So we got in there, Jeffrey and I went out there, we bought an American League baseball each because the Brewers were in the American League back then. And that particular door right there, Hank Aaron came up in a limousine, and Jeff Phelps and I came out, and everybody was shocked. He had an entourage with him, and the limo driver said, Mr. Aaron, could we please get an autograph? And he looked around, he didn't know what to do, so we signed our baseballs, and they said, okay, he didn't say it, but the bodyguard, no more autographs after that. So Jeffrey still has, I moved so many times, I don't know where the ball is, Jeffrey still had his, so the whole idea was to say the story about that, but to see you was a total treat.
This has been awesome for me because I just love running into former students and seeing how they're doing and learning about their families. Many of them have families now, and I've had actually a couple generations over the years. I've had generations of the same family. So I went to school with their parents, then I taught their kids, and then grandkids. So it's always awesome for me to see people like you on the street.
Well, you know, I was a comedian and a radio announcer for...
You bet I know that.
It's funny because they had an all-school Mesmer reunion at Summerfest one year, and a lot of Milwaukee radio personalities, Bob Barry, who's very famous, and Joe Dorsey, a guy named Tom Cole was on the bowling game, and they asked me to be part of that. I was like, look, I grew up in the 70s. I have nothing. These guys are all stars. But it was such a thrill, I think, to come back to Mesmer, and it's a painful time for me, but to see the teachers like yourself become real people. Mr. Hennessy, you, Mrs. Stowski was so nice to me, and I just realized in all these years later, it's been 40 years. It's our 40-year reunion this year, and it was a blessing from above to see you today. Thank you, Ms. Bonish. I really appreciate it.
It was great seeing you, and best of luck.
Well, thank you a lot. This is the Dented Cast. A little angel from heaven joined us today. We'll be back with more coming up for this. This couldn't have gone any better, and memories, precious memories, respective Hank Aaron too. We're the Dented Cast.